Welcome back. It's time now for Media Watch, and for that I'm joined by James Creedon. Good evening, James.
Evening, Annette.
Now, Libération is led with a very provocative front page yesterday, targeting Bernard Arnault, the LVMH boss, for seeking Belgian nationality, and they've done it again today.
Right.
Why?
They don't like him, that's why. No, it's good marketing, it's a left-wing newspaper, etc., etc. So in any case, let's take a look at the front page yesterday. Casse-toi, riche con, get lost, you rich fool. In other words, if you're going to seek Belgian nationality, off you go, off with you. That is a paraphrase of a famous Sarkozy response to a heckler, where he told him to casse-toi, pauvre con, get lost, you poor fool, you poor idiot. It went down in Sarkozy lore. And this is their front page today because Bernard Arnault said, hey, Libération, this is libel, I'm going to sue you. And they said, well, if you're going to sue us, we're going to come back with an even worse front page. And here they say, Bernard, si tu reviens, on annule tout. Bernard, if you come back from Belgium, one would presume, we'll cancel everything. And that seems quite an odd headline, except it's another reference to another Sarkozy quote where he is alleged to have sent a text message to his ex-wife Cecilia just before his marriage to Carla Bruni, asking her to come back. He'd cancel everything if she came back. That was reported by one of the magazines, immediately denied by the Sarkozy camp and never proven. But again, it was one of those sentences that became associated with Sarkozy. The long and short of it is they're being very bold, very naughty, and they're drawing a lot of attention onto themselves on their front pages, which ain't bad for business, right?
Certainly isn't. At the end of the day, it is all about money. And Le Monde's cartoonist Plantu, who's very well known inside the country, he's even got into the act and suggesting that Libération has been slightly a little bit over the top.
That's right. Now, he's writing, this cartoon here on the front page of Le Monde today was imagining the brainstorming session at Libération, imagining today's front page, and actually they weren't far off because they came up with a very provocative front page again today. But here they're imagining it would have said "caca la droite," or "the right is a bit poo." In other words, they're just a bit anti-right. That got a lot of attention too. But you know what? A lot of people were pointing out that the front page advertisement today on Libération was by Yves Saint Laurent. Now they are the opposing camp. They belong to PPS, which is another big group, which is a rival of LVMH. So people are saying, there's a lot of money in all of this, and there's advertising to be, they might have lost out on some advertising deals related to LVMH, but they've made perhaps some money out of Yves Saint Laurent, perhaps. And in any case, it shows that all of this lefty posturing is maybe not entirely genuine, seeing as, it is also a marketing exercise for the newspaper.
Now, it's 9/11 today, and the New York papers are not leading with it. That's really amazing, isn't it, James? I mean, has the country actually moved on?
Well, you would think from the front page of the New York Times and the New York Post that they have moved on. Let's take a look online. Here's the New York Times today leading on strikes in Chicago in the school system. This is the New York Post. I'll zoom on that. That's some scandal at a school. Now, other newspapers, of course, did lead on it. If you go up through the various newspapers here, you can see that it was very much front and centre of the New York Daily News, for example. But there was one interview given by an editor at the New York Times called Margaret Sullivan. She says, look, anniversary journalism is tough to cover, really. You run out of angles, and there is a time really where you just have to move on, and I suppose going past that 10-year anniversary might be that time.
And what's interesting also, James, is that politicians didn't address the ceremony in New York either, so it does give that sense that maybe they've moved to the next stage.
It seems so.
Now, they're calling it Nipplegate. We're changing the tune rather dramatically here, obviously. New Yorker magazine is saying that its cartoons have been banned from Facebook. The New Yorker magazine. We're not talking about Playboy or anything like that.
No, it's pretty kind of establishment. Well, not necessarily establishment, but it's not porn. Let's put it that way, right? Now, the Cartoon Bureau, let's take a look online. Nipplegate, they're calling it. Their Facebook page, as you said, was shut down temporarily because of this not very offensive cartoon, let's be honest. It imagined Adam and Eve with this byline, well, it was original, a reference to original sin. It's funny, right?
Yeah.
And Facebook didn't see the funny side of it and took it down. So what the New Yorker did is they wrote this whole very funny piece where the cartoonist also reclothed, or I suppose clothed for the first time, Adam and Eve, and also blew up those offending nipples, right? And apparently male nipples are okay, but not female nipples. So here you have Eve, and here you have Adam, and this is not okay. this is okay. So there you go. It's quite funny, and it's a way of pointing out perhaps not always coherent censorship rules over at Facebook.
James, I'm afraid that's all we have time for. As always, a pleasure.
Thanks,
Thank you
Annette.
for that.